This is Ms. Rapini, and I provide the voice and science content for the Amoeba Sisters. But the purpose of this clip is to show you how to get voice narration audio files into a video. I'm going to assume that you will be watching my sister's video clip on Movie Maker and how to put images in Movie Maker to make a movie, so we're not going to touch on that here. This tutorial is designed for teachers as well as students. We really want to encourage student video creation, because when students get the chance to make their own videos, it's an amazing learning experience. And if you're like me and you're concerned about time, you might be interested in some of the strategies to deal with time. For example, you can make this into a collaborative effort. The teacher can record the audio part, and then a student group can provide the images. Or a student group can record the audio, and then a teacher can provide the images. But either way, you're really letting students become producers and not just passive consumers of educational content. If any of this seems overwhelming as I go into it, please feel free to contact us. And keep in mind that we're picking resources that don't cost any money. They're free, which is good, and they are pretty easy to use. But there are other programs besides what we're talking about. You really need two major things for a successful recording. First, you need something to record with. You don't need a fancy microphone. No, what you really need is a cell phone, specifically a smartphone. iPhones are great, Android phones are great. The one I've used for previous videos is the Samsung S3, but I now have the S5. But really, most smartphones have great recording ability. The other thing you need is a program that edits audio on your computer to take things out that you don't want, like pauses or ums, as well as combine multiple recordings together. I really like Audacity for this. Audacity is a free program. If you just Google it, you will see where you can download it. And many school districts, they'll load it on their school computers. So have your school district check it out. There are others, but Audacity is definitely my favorite. So we're going to check out 3 easy steps for recording audio and getting it into Movie Maker. The first step, number 1, is to record your narration on your phone. Most smartphones have a built-in app for recording, but you might not want to use it for one major reason. A lot of the built-in apps for recording that come with your smartphone, they do a great job, but they don't record in WAV. That's WAV format. That's a file name. So you'd have to convert those files to become .wav files on your computer, and this would be a lot of extra work. Now, you really need that format, that WAV format, to work with many movie and audio programs. So it's really helpful if you just download an app for your phone that records in that WAV format. And they have a lot of free apps available. Notice here, when I did a search for WAV record, I pulled up some apps for my phone. And this one here is one that I really use and I like, and there's a lot of them that are available. Now, you don't have to download an app. You could use what your phone has, but just remember you'd have to convert it to a WAV file otherwise. Now, if you have a microphone that connects to your computer or a laptop with a built-in microphone, you wouldn't need a smartphone, and that's easier because you're already connected to the computer. The sound file's already on your computer. But if you're recording on a smartphone, you're going to have to move that sound file onto your computer, just like you would a picture file or any other kind of file. Personally, my favorite way to transfer files from my smartphone to my computer is an app called Dropbox. It's free and it makes that transfer process faster than when I would connect my phone to my computer with a USB cord. So consider downloading Dropbox. Okay, step number 2, my favorite part, Audacity.
Okay, so I have Audacity open and I'm going to show you how to put my sound files into Audacity. And I say files because you usually will have more than one, whether you have multiple students contributing or even if you're just doing one concept, you usually will have multiple sound files. I mean, it's really hard to talk straight through a concept without stopping and taking a little break. So usually you'll have multiple sound files. So I'm going to import them into Audacity. And to do that, I'm going to go up to the top and I'm going to go to File and I'm going to go to Import. And these are going to be audio files, so I'm going to pick Audio. Now, I already, I'm on the folder where I have all my sound files. You might have to browse up here to find where you want to get your sound files. Now notice that I have a 1, 2, 3. That's because I named them that way. I want it to know the order that they're in. And I could highlight all of them and add them all in at once, but I want to do these one at a time so that you can kind of see how this works. So I'm going to go ahead and double click on the first one. And it always will give you this warning. And you just say OK. It picks the safest option. And I'm going to do the same thing for the other two. So I'm going to go up to File and Import, Audio. And I'm going to pick the second one. And I'm going to say OK. And I'm going to do the same thing for the last one. So I've got them all in there. Now, one thing to keep in mind about this is that they're all kind of stacked on top of each other. If I were to play this, and in order to play, I would just need to click anywhere before where you see all this blue, which is the voice. But if I clicked here, I could hit the green play button right here. And if you hover over it, it'll tell you that's the play button. And you would notice that it's all jumbled sound because there would be 3 things playing at once. See, I want one long linear line of all my sound files. So to do that, I'm going to use a tool right here, this double-sided arrow. If you hover over it, it says Time Shift Tool. And so I'm going to click that button. I really like this tool because it lets you drag the sound files. But see, it's kind of hard to drag right now because this is taking my whole screen. So I'm going to go up to View, and I'm going to zoom out a little bit so that I can see everything. So I'm going to View, Zoom out, View, Zoom out. Just makes it really easy to see. And see, I want everything to be on this first row here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just left click and drag the second one out. And I'm going to now left click and drag it up. So I'm just kind of combining them. Going to do the same thing for number 3. I'm going to drag this thing up, move it over a little bit, and drag it up again. There you go. Now I've got them all together, and that's great. And I'm going to delete these other boxes because I don't need them anymore. I just needed them all to be on the first one. If you had more sound files, and I've had as many as 8 before, so you can add as many as you want. You could add more than 8 if you want to. Now, there's some things I don't like. For example, this sound file, if you notice right here, there's a lot of empty space, and then there's space between them. Maybe I had paused or something there. So I was on this tool right here, which is the Time Shift tool. Again, that helps you move things up and down and to the side. But now I want to actually delete some of these spaces. And so I can do that by clicking on this Select tool right here. And I can highlight any area that I want to delete. So if I just left click and drag, and now I'm just going to click Delete on the keyboard, and it's gone. And maybe I would do that in between here too. And delete. And I might do that here. And remember that when you're doing this, you don't necessarily know what's being said. So what you might want to do is you might want to make sure and click on any area and then listen to it by clicking the play button so that you can hear and constantly edit. Now, if there are little things, maybe a or some kind of side noise that you didn't want in there, there's a lot you can do with that. But you would have to zoom in more because right now it's really hard to delete little things that might be in here. So that would be really hard to get in here. So I might go to View and I might keep zooming in a lot. That doesn't change anything about the sound file. It just makes it so that you can be really nitpicky, even a very small thing. And it makes it so that if you select just a tiny little thing, you could delete and it's gone. Now, a lot of times I make many mistakes when I'm editing. So a shortcut for undo, which you probably already know, is holding down the Control and the Z on the keyboard. So Control Z will undo. So if you accidentally, delete this huge thing here, it happens more easy than you would think. Control Z and it's back again. So anytime you make a mistake, don't worry, just do Control Z and get it back again. The last thing, so we talked about moving something with this Time Shift tool. We talked about how to delete things with the Selection tool and highlighting. Well, the last thing I really do a lot is if I have to add a pause. Sometimes when I get really excited, I will talk very fast. And sometimes that's not good because if I'm going through a concept and I really need to add some pauses there so that people can think about what I just said, it would be helpful if I can do that in the sound file. So let's say, for example, I needed more space right here. What I would do is I would find the exact area, and again, I might have to play and listen to it a little bit and figure out exactly where and maybe zoom in a little bit more by going to view and zoom in. But to generate a pause, I would go up to here, generate in silence. Now this is set for 30 seconds, so this is going to be a huge silence. Usually I do like a 0.2 or a 0.5. But if you say okay here, I just want to show you what it does. It puts a big silence here. So it generates a large silence. So really, those are the big things, is being able to delete, being able to generate a silence, and then being able to zoom in and to zoom out, and to be able to move your sound files with, again, this time shift tool. Those are really the things that I tend to do. There are more functions with Audacity, and there is a great help feature here, so you can learn some more. They have a manual right here that talks a lot about some of the tutorial stuff. The last thing to do is now we need to save this. So in order to do that, I'm going to go up to the top, File, and I'm going to go to Export, because I'm exporting it to a sound file that I can put into Movie Maker or whichever program I'm going to use. So I'm going to go to Export, and notice it is a WAV file. That's exactly what I want. I'm going to name this Meiosis because I already had a Meiosis 1. I don't want to have that. And I'm going to save that to my desktop. Actually, I already have something saved that way. Usually this will come up, this metadata thing. I leave that alone. I just say okay. And it will export it into a WAV file. So now it's saved. Usually it does take a little bit longer than this, but my file was really small. I'm also going to go to File and Save Project As. And the reason I'm going to do this is because when you save a project, it'll allow students or teachers to go back in and make a few more edits. The only catch is that you can only open a project with Audacity. So if they don't have Audacity installed on the computer that they try to open the project with, they wouldn't be able to do any edits. So that's the only catch with projects. So you always want them to save it as a sound file too, because a WAV file can be opened by tons of different programs. So I'm going to call this Meiosis, and I'm going to save it to my desktop. Okay, so now I've got those two things saved. I've got that, and now I'm set to put this into Movie Maker. So we are set. Okay, so the very last step, step number 3, is how to add in the audio into Movie Maker. And I'm not going to go into how I added this image here or how you time images to sound, because that's all in my sister's video. But what I am going to show is how to add the audio. Now you do have to add an image or movie footage first before you add in the audio. It won't let you add in the audio until you've already had something in there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up here. I'm on the home ribbon, something to keep in mind, and I'm going to go to Add Music. And I know this is not music. I definitely cannot sing. I'm going to click this Add Music, the little drop down arrow. This is Add Music from PC. I'm going to go ahead and click on this, and I'm going to find the sound file that I had already made in Audacity. I had saved it to my desktop. Here we go. Okay, so I'm on my desktop. Here it is, right here. Double click on it. And now it's in. If I hover over this area, it says meiosis.wav. And that is the sound file. And that's how you get it into Movie Maker. Pretty easy. So that's it for how to create your audio, how to edit it in Audacity, and how to put it into Movie Maker. Please feel free to contact us if you have any questions or if there's anything that we can help you with. And that's it for the Amoeba Sisters, and we remind you to stay curious.